How's it going, Laser Bruises? Up, I'll be Sixkilla and welcome back to Head as Code. We're working our way through our second path, hoping we're going to get a better result than last time, although the last time was apparently a happy ending, despite being decapitated. But let's carry on from where we were at. Finally back on solid ground, I stretched my arms and legs, looking around to see if anybody was back yet, or if we'd won the imaginary room-solving race. Four had already finished before us. Damn, we got third place. Hey, where are the twins? They aren't back yet? Jasmine shook her head when I called for them. No, they haven't come back yet. I'm a little worried. We've been here maybe 10 or 20 minutes now? Hard to tell. Talking about what we found in our rooms. Obviously, we explored the library. It had some food in it too. Like a sandwich? Looked kinda gross, but I was hungry, so it's whatever. Old man A won the sustenance jackpot though, since his room was a pantry. I noticed Jasmine had a bag now, which she didn't have before. I wouldn't have noticed it if I'd just been looking at it from the front, since it was tied and hanging off her back. It seemed strangely familiar, and upon taking a glance at the old man I realised it was similar to the bag he was holding. Oh, now she can talk to E instead of us. Did he share something with her? Jasmine noticed my glare. I was ready to defend myself about how I wasn't looking at her butt or anything, but she already took the lead. Oh, this bag? A's lending me some stuff so I can communicate with E too. That's just in case we split up again. We won't be stuck in the same team every time. I see. Off to the side was the other girl. We weren't doing much and there was no reason to waste time, so I decided to strike up some conversation with someone. All of them were pretty much free to talk to, but the old man himself was examining the consoles. I spoke to him. If I spoke to him, it would probably end up in a long talk. Best be if I kept him for last. Unless I wanted to move on from this situation anyway. Okay. Oh, we can't talk to E though. I approached E even though obviously I couldn't talk with her. Damn, I wanted to ask her about her mask and stuff, but I couldn't do it alone, and it would be too conspicuous if I investigated with Jasmine's help. Then again, maybe I could still get some info out of her if I asked Jasmine. Cool, Jasmine over here. Hey Jay, I want to ask E some stuff. Can you come over here? Okay, sure. Since I don't have a lot of paper, we'll have to make it quick. It would give me some experience for later at least, so I'm all good with it. What do you want to ask? I didn't exactly know what I wanted to ask E. I couldn't ask her anything too complicated, but I also didn't want to ask her something useless. I want to know what her favourite colour is. Wait, are you trying to use me to flirt with her? No, I swear. Okay, something else then. Maybe we could ask her about... My eyes darted all around, trying to find something I could ask her. Did she like trains? What about the colour of her hair? Was it natural? Or her dress, or the straps of her dress over her shoulders? Her breast size. Yes? You can't just ask her that. I quickly confounded myself with excuses, following my spaghetti moment. Sorry. I guess I don't want to ask her anything in the end. Don't get mad, it was just a something, I don't know, I didn't mean it. Jasmine huffed and walked away indignantly. That didn't win points with anyone. Huh. Well, I didn't lose any points with E at least. Hey Jay, did your group find anything weird in your room? What do you mean by that? I don't know, like some special instructions or additional tools, or... We had a tablet. It doesn't connect to anything though, and its battery seems to be extremely limited. At least that's what M said. Marco probably operated if I had to guess. He's good with that kind of thing. We didn't really find tools. It was a weird clock, I think. Weird how? It had 4 hands. It was equal to 2 people. Huh. Technically, we all have 4 hands, but our feet don't really count as hands anymore. They used to count, you know. When we were big monkeys. Those are called gorillas. They could be called elephants, and I wouldn't really care. This is useless. Anyway, I meant to say that the clock was strange, but it was part of the puzzle solving. So nothing special then. Yep, nothing. I decided to keep quiet about the note I found for now. Maybe I'd share it with her later when there'd be fewer people out and about. I came by the two of them as they were discussing what they found in their rooms. Yeah, we found a scanner room, but we couldn't take it. We didn't find that 9th person or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be. You sure it's even a way out? Possibly. It wasn't part of the puzzle as far as I could tell. Yeah, he's right. We solved the room without needing to go through it. Huh. Our room had that too. Does every station have a way to leave, just so we could pick one? If that's the case, we should take the one closest to our home. You two know each other that well? Yeah, we're roommates. I wanted to tell Marco to shut up about it, because it didn't feel right leaking all my secrets like that, but in retrospect, it was pretty obvious that I knew Marco and Jasmine. Doesn't matter. The real issue was finding that ninth person before we tried leaving. Otherwise, he made a gun with his hand and pointed at the end of it at his head, mimicking it going off. Bang. Just like that. It'd probably be simpler to say I would just cut your head off. My hand shook a little when I remembered that fact. It was so easy to forget we were wearing the collars then. When at any moment, they could decide to cook our necks clean off. Anyway, meet back up later. I waved them off, walking away before my nervousness became more apparent. I approached the old man while he was examining the door with a keypad next to it. This one was different from the others, even when seen from afar. The ones at our station had just one console, but this one had 4 little keypads. I didn't know why, but I immediately believed all 4 of those were representative of the 4 codes we got from our stations. Sadly, we were missing the twins still, so we couldn't open this yet. Hey, I thought to open this maybe we have to enter our 4 passwords. That's a good idea, but we're still lacking one of the search parties. I tried entering some things to test that too. Anything that isn't the solution it wants seems to clear immediately after I press OK. He motioned at the first console on the wall. However, this one didn't when I entered the code to the pantry. The numbers are still stuck exactly where I entered them, as if it was frozen. Alas, as I mentioned, without the twins we won't be able to open this, and we are unable to take the train to return to our previous stations unless we cross the rails, which is a terrible idea. That means we aren't even able to help them, even if we elect to send another search party among ourselves. This is quite the pickle. Right. Nothing stops us from having us enter the codes and then leave though. Ah, that's true. If we left a token force, like a duo here, they could meet up with the twins again when they were finished, enter the final code, and check this place out while the rest move on for now. It may save us some time in the long run. I agree. I volunteer to head out then. The others had come by when they realised we were discussing our next plan of action. Everyone but E took part in the discussion. Yeah, I think we should head out too. It's true I'd like to wait for the twins, but I also want to see further in. Maybe find that 9th person too. Hard to admit, but I agree with Ray. Smiley said the station was special, right? For all we know, this place is more like a checkpoint and not an exit. A was silent, relating to the others what he was saying. What the others were saying to E while we talked it out. He spoke up to let us know of E's choice in the matter. E would like to keep exploring, but I think I would rather stay here and wait for the twins. What about you, Jay? What is your preference? She looked over at me. It seemed like she picked whatever I'd go with. I shook my head as if to tell her to make the choice without taking me into account. I'd like to head out then. That would make 4 of us, I think. Right, we have our teams set. Hey, wait, I didn't make up my mind yet. Ah, that's correct too. Well, if you'd prefer to leave this place and explore, that would be a little difficult for us. We have to remake the teams. That's true, but I was flustered because I didn't even think about asking for my opinion. As it was, Em and Ray would go together and Jasmine and E would go as our second team. I would be staying here with A to wait for the twins. I don't know if I like that idea. I looked over at the others. All of them seemed pretty convinced they wanted to go. The only one who would be able to switch out for me would be E, since she would be less useful in a search probably. That meant I would take E's place if I went. Okay, I made my decision. Out with it already. We don't have all day. Yes, what is it you wish to do? As the old man hurriedly questioned me, I made up my mind. Ooh, we get to choose. Let's go as a team. Something in me clicked when I was given the choice. I decided not to wait for the twins, suddenly believing that would be a waste of time on my end. I didn't care if we had to redo the teams. Yeah, I'll go too. If Em and Ray go together, that means I'll go with Jasmine. Hold on. E also wishes to go, so that puts us at an impasse. He still communicated what I said to E. In the end, E decided to stay back. That would be our teams then, but I'm not sure about our compositions. I first aimed for the teams to be mixing up between people who didn't know each other too well. Is there really a reason to do that, you think? Why, it might help us determine exactly what's been asked of us, of course. I don't believe Smiley took us random passers-by from the street without due cause. As a result of this, I too have changed my mind and wish to head out. That's just a fucking waste of time. Let's set off already. Maybe you and Jay could have a rock, paper, scissors battle to determine who heads out. A looked at Jasmine and the two of them nodded, glaring at each other. The atmosphere suddenly turned quite serious out of nowhere. The most serious game of rock, paper, scissors ever. Wait, don't take it so seriously. Stay out of this. I have an old man to flatten. Don't think I'll go down so easily, young lady. I've still got it. The two of them pulled their sleeves back as if they were going at it full force. All I could do was watch as the two of them counted. My god, this is just like the GNU Force. Finally they opened their hands. In the first round, Jasmine lost. Ha, I told you. Victory is within my grasp. No way. You have to go for best of 3. What? It's the only way. I opened my eyes wider as they drew out the battle. Her competitive spirit was off the charts. From her body, I could almost see it float above her head. A menacing dragon. And from the old man, there was much the same. A giant bird spirit, half bird, half lion. Like a griffin. A griffin. The two of them locked into battle for the ages. The dragon shook its hand in the air, closing it into a fist as the countdown resumed. Griffin's clawed digits did the same as they brought down their fist. Only the victor emerged from the duel. This time Jasmine won and A lost. The dragon took a bite out of the griffin, severely damaging it. But it wasn't over. It was best of 3, so this meant even with the two of them scoring 1 point and wounding the opponent, it wouldn't be over with just this much. The most intense fucking rock, paper, scissors ever. The dragon roared and the griffin screeched. Never has there been a more important game of rock, paper, scissors since Alex Kidd in Miracle World. The two of them went at it again, the final decisive strike. Who would emerge victorious? At that point, I'd hidden my face behind my hands, unable to see the next skirmish in any way except through my fingers. On the side, Marco yawned. Ray glared at us. Could they not understand this was the decisive moment? Like, nobody gives a shit. This single battle could end the world's conflicts. Or plunge it into eternal chaos. Finally, the two of them settled their final attack. As they did, dust exploded from the strike. I couldn't tell who won for the longest time. A powerful wind came out of their contact, and finally the dust settled. The victor was clear to me now. As I opened my eyes to look through the cloud of leftover dust, I saw Jasmine won. Devoured whole, the griffin returned to the ether. It had been a glorious battle, but none could stand against the dragon. I'll go with S then. She bore a victorious smile, bordering on smugness. I was taken back to reality when A grumbled his way back and explained the outcome to E. I almost felt bad when E's expression dropped a little. It's alright, I don't mind waiting here either. Explore your leisure and find a way for us, okay? Don't forget me. And make sure the twins are safe, eh? Still dazed by the great battle of the dragon and the griffin, I made my way to the others, who had been waiting for the train. It finally arrived when Jasmine joined us too. This was a glorious battle indeed. Huh? I chose not to elaborate on what my mind had just conjured up and instead entered the train with everyone else. It was time for me to focus back on the unearthing of the 9th person. Well, at any rate, I'm glad it didn't take too long. I always hate waiting for these things. It's a waste of time, but what can you do? It's better than walking around or even driving in this fucking city. Traffic sucks. Yeah, and it's big enough to walk. That walking would take forever to get anywhere too. It seemed the two of them were on better terms. They could tolerate each other. Maybe getting out whatever they disliked about each other would be easier than anticipated. Or maybe it's just because Ray wasn't calling Marco a punk and Marco wasn't cracking a stupid joke for once. Here we go. As the chime rang out for our departure, we waved goodbye to A. The train soon set off. Prochain Station Security. As usual, the speakers spoke the name of the next station. This time it was something like security. I decided to leave at this one with Jasmine, since I was highly curious about it. A security room. Would there be videotapes there? Perhaps Smiley made a mistake and we could see something from the cameras. We'll go first, okay? Jasmine and I will explore the security room and report any findings we might have about what the cameras have seen. Oh man, I wanted to go there. Nah, I don't care. You two can do whatever you want. Not really romantic though. It doesn't really matter to me. She glared at me a little. What was I supposed to say? That I wanted to take her to dinner? I mean, sure, that would have been nice, but this really wasn't the time. Anyway, you two have fun. I rose up and so did Jasmine as the station came into view. Yeah, we'll go have fun. Let's see. We can go play some games at the arcade or go watch a movie. How about it, Ray? Ray wasn't very amused by this his nonchalance. None of that in here. Security. Oh, how do you know that? I left the train with Jasmine as the two of them started bickering again. We decided to waste no time and entered the lobby. As soon as we were in, as was customary, probably, the doors closed and the train outside drove off. So, this looks like all the other stations so far. I mean, the two sides have these lobbies, the doors closed behind us. She sighed, demoralised by the process we were stuck in. I know you prefer being a free bird. We better get going though. No time to waste here. The night is still young and we've got to make it out so we can celebrate at home, right? Jasmine flashed me a smile. Yeah, let's check this place out and obliterate it. She walked up the staircase without even waiting for me. I hope in the obliteration of this place we won't end up being caught by our own petard. It was time to see what the station really was. I stepped up the stairs and then wandered through a brief hallway. I saw one of its ends lead to a locked room with a scanner in the middle, much like the ones before. Ooh, we haven't been here, have we? Oh wait, did we come here? I decided to head to a different room, a spacious one, and one I actually could enter. There was a doorway on both sides, both of them connected to a hallway, linking us to either side of the station below. The third door led to another room with electronics. I left that one alone for now. This room's full of TV screens. I wonder who has the time to watch all that. The security guards, of course, they're getting paid to do it. None of them are here. Besides, this is a station, remember? The Metro security guards don't hang out in here normally. Well, then we could watch all the Switchformers movies at the same time. Are you insane? You get a headache the size of the moon. I examined the monitors again. I once had a friend who was a security guard and he kept talking about his job. The kind of stuff you saw on the monitors was seldom funny, or just plain weird. The things people did. There was a control board in front of the screens, but I had no idea how to operate it. There's a side room too. We should explore that one later as well. Why don't we split up? You go in there and look here. Look here. I'll look here. Okay? Holler if you want to switch places. I nodded, agreeing with their plan, while she left me alone here. Even if this room was a security room, it was still, in its own way, very ominous. Surely that would make it more ominous, wouldn't it? Okay, I'm gonna have to re-record this bit because it all messed up on me on the recording. I found out what the problem was that I was having with the recording, and it was Bandicam. Bandicam was causing the problems. I'm gonna re-record this puzzle room, wrap it up, and then everything is fixed. For now. Fingers crossed. So I'm gonna have to go back over all these and read them out again. Let's do that. I wonder how many guards this place had. There were 18 screens lined up over 3 rows of 6, or in 3 sections of 6. All of them were shut down. In front of it was a console. I assumed this was used to access security footage. Yet without it active, there was little I could have done with it. So I did little and made like a tree. And leaf. These desks were reminiscent of office desks, not so much security desks. Then again, I didn't know what security rooms really looked like. Reminds me of my friend who used to work as a security guard. The kinds of things people did on camera are always a good story. I wonder if it's just because they knew someone was watching. On this desk was a bunch of electronics, a lamp and some paper. On the other, much of the same. The computers didn't seem to work. And this chair, it looks really bad. I feel terrible for anyone who has to sit on that for any extended period of time. Maybe miss my gaming chair at home. Dude, you don't want to see my hand-me-down throwaway freebie chair. No, it was not really an expensive one. Didn't have the money for that. I know the feeling. It was a simpler one, but it's still leagues above this sorry use for a chair. The symbol was weird. It looked like a red cross with a bunch of additional lines. Isn't this the simple smiley wore as a clasp? Must be really important. Sure. Probably a bad idea to pull the alarm. I did it anyway. I thought maybe to give Jasmine a scare. Nothing happened. Sad. This leads outside. No leaving until we solve the rooms. Supers? I don't get it. Is it a new brand of coffee? And why are there plates stored here when it's clearly just a break counter? And this, is this ketchup? And is that mustard over there? Is this a restaurant? I examined the burger thoroughly. Could I have gone for a burger on the top of the sandwich I'd eaten earlier? The answer was yes. Burgers were always fine. Just had to decide if I trusted the burger. Trust nobody, not even your beef. I grabbed the burger and... oh, it was plastic. Something didn't feel right though. I can hear a little clink clink when I shake it. Pulling on the burger a little, I managed to break it apart. Inside was a little key. Cool. I only had to find where to use it now. These chairs look more comfortable than the ones behind the desks. If I ever needed to go up anywhere, these would be a cheerific help. Nobody laughed. Not even myself. There's nobody here. I feel so ashamed I vacated the area without looking at the water cooler. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm a disgrace to my family. Who even uses VHS tapes anymore? This is 2022 for crying out loud. Look at how much space this old age technology even takes. I looked through the tapes hoping to discover something from a label or another. And they were all unlabeled. Huh? Are they just empty? Possibly. By making clever use of nearby computer chairs, I could add a few feet to my height, allowing me to reach the higher ledge where a bunch of suitcases were stashed. Still, when I got on the chair, I did a worrying crackling noise, as if it was already on the verge of giving way under my weight. Hang on, buddy. I spoke to the chair, reassuring it. I grabbed a random suitcase and instantly the chair broke apart, leaving me to fall to the ground with a loud noise. The room shook slightly, and some VHS tapes fell off the shelves, the majority landing all over my body. Oh, okay. Standing on computer chairs, not secure. I repeat, standing on computer chairs, not secure. And they call this a security room too. I don't feel secure at all. I grumbled to myself as I rose to my feet. I hoped there was no other suitcases I needed to grab because I figured I would have had to call Jasmine over. Speak of the devil, she just happened to wander back in. You okay? I heard a loud crashing noise as if the moon landed right in this room. Oh, I'm not that heavy. If you're in high spirits, then I guess I was worrying over nothing. She popped her head back into the other room. Thanks, Jazz. Real helpful. I chased that out of my head and then I tried to open the suitcase. You either do or do not. There is no try. And I didn't. The suitcase was locked up by a bunch of screws. At least I brought it down if we ever found a screwdriver. Or some coins. Classic escape room maneuver. I tried the one I kept from the bedroom, but it was too wide. Yep, screwdriver then. Hey, this is the same air conditioner as the lounge's AC. That we've never been into. The same AC as the lounge? Wait, what lounge? I must confuse the AC with another. See, we're already having this... we have memories in our head from another timeline thing. That's happening real early. I could go through here if I wanted to switch with Jasmine and have her explore this room instead. Do it. Hey Jay, let's switch it up, okay? Before we do, wanna help me with a thing? Sure. What is it? I came into the room. It was a lot smaller than I expected. In the back there was some huge mess. It was impossible to see the top or the bottom of what was stored here. A lot of shelves had piles upon piles of paper and everything was locked up behind a gate. There wasn't even any space to walk, so if you wanted to get anything out you had to remove what was in front first. Do you want to help removing all this? It would take forever. No, I found a screwdriver but I can't get it. Is it too high on the shelf? If I can get it down, no problem. Yes, I'm taller than you. No, nothing with the screwdriver itself. I think the box will open when we sell something else here. What I really need help with is this. She pointed at the console with wires made of all the colours in the world connected to various parts. Well, all the colours in the world wasn't right unless one considered red, green and blue all the colours in the world. I do! Following that, she also handed me a piece of paper. There were diagrams for the wires, pointing at where each should be connected, though each diagram wasn't the right one. Wasn't clear. According to this, we'll get a screwdriver. However, when we take it out, the door will slide shut. That means if we take it out, we'll be trapped in it. Sounds bad. Let's not take it then. I'm pretty sure we'll have to. The idea is that one person will take it and shut themselves in, then pass the screwdriver to the other person on the other side of the door. The other person will use it and then send it back. If it's put back in the box, the door will open again. That way they're ensuring we won't do anything they don't want us to do with it, like take it to another room for example. Weird way of handling it. There was nothing like that for the hammer I found in the bedroom. Found a hammer? Did you bring it with you? Yeah, I have it on me. Maybe we're able to make use of it some way then. Do you think you can handle this wire stuff on your own? I took a cursory look over the piece of paper. This looked pretty easy. I'll think about it. I didn't want to hurt her feelings, so I acted like I'd have to think real hard about it, leaning against a part of the console that didn't have a keyboard. In the meantime, Jasmine waved at me and left to examine the other room, where she'd be more useful. I didn't know what these dials were for. Was this some kind of large battery? Even though I feel like this technology here is simple for the ear, I still don't know how any of this works. I brushed my hand on the back of my head, clearly embarrassed. This is a blank screen. Nothing happened when I pressed on the keys. If I pull on any of these switches, the current would stop and be trapped. Probably. I bet some really important machine is running on these wires. From afar, I listened as the sound of a toilet being flushed was heard. Oh man, it goes on for ages. How much poo was there to take down in that toilet? It's some really important machine. I looked for the fuse linked to the bathroom in this area and then I flipped it off. From afar, I heard a scream as the lights probably went down. How well do your eyes work in the dark, Jazz? I talked to myself before giving her sight back, flipping the fuse back to on. That was very cruel. I unlocked the wires using a key I found in the burger. I wish I had a real burger instead of a key, but it was hard to argue the key was more useful right now. Then I looked at the piece of paper Jasmine left me. On it was a bunch of diagrams telling me how to operate this piece of junk. I had to put wires in this hole, and that one, and a green one here, a red one here, blue one, and over there. Didn't work. That was the first diagram crossed out. I tried the second, same thing. In order to make us waste as much time as possible, they probably made the last one work. Trying to solve this big brain style, I switched my method of elimination by going in from the end instead. That only made the job harder on me because turns out the next diagram on the list was the correct one. I wasted some time trying them out from the end after going halfway from the start. Son of a gun! It's like he read my mind and knew exactly when I'd switch it up. Damn you, Smiley, you... Gah! The screen next to the wires lit up once they were all in. Hey Jay, come here. I solved it. I didn't want to gloat, but I want to talk to her about the puzzle. It was hardly one anyway. The wires matched the configuration in the lot, and it had been real easy to figure out. Why couldn't she have done it? Oh good, you let Screwdriver's cat out. Screwdriver's cat? Don't you mean Schrodinger's cat? Also, the box isn't actually open yet. Yes, Shroud River's cat, that's what I said. No, Schrodinger. Schrodinger? Sure, let's go with that. How do you even know there's a screwdriver in this box anyway? Because it's got an indication on it. Look, it clearly shows a screwdriver. You're the kind of person to trust what you see at face value, huh? What are you getting at? Well, you can't be sure there's a screwdriver or not until we open the box. Until then, the box both has a screwdriver in it and it doesn't. That's why it's called Schrodinger's cat. Maybe because it may be alive or dead, just like there might be a screwdriver or not. No, it's Schrodinger. What are you talking about? Are you trying to sound smart even though there's no bearing on our situation? Huh. I'll have you know, Schrodinger's car is a very important piece of theory for quantum mechanics. Now he has a car too. How many things can Schrodinger fit in his box? Slip of the tongue. Feel free to call me back over when you really need my help, S. Schrodinger's car. She stormed out of the room after I made fun of Schrodinger's cat too much. I couldn't help it. At this moment of my life, even the mention of that makes me facepalm. I know the feeling, actually. The topic of the wires completely escaped my mind, but at this point, she certainly wouldn't answer it until she simmered down. Now that the screen was lit up, I could operate the keyboard. There was some kind of puzzle to solve, which was just angled around rearranging letters. The square with yellow and green operated like a tactile mouse. I quickly made work of this thing. And then a nearby click echoed. Must be Screwdriver's cat box opening. Then after that, Jasmine appeared in the doorframe. Did you get it? I heard something about screwdrivers. Yes, it's open. Okay. Whatever you did also activated something on the other side, so I'm going to need the screwdriver now. There's a suitcase on the floor with a bunch of screws in it. Think I could do it instead? I brought it down after all. Let me do this one at least. I capitulated in front of her insistence. It was true she hadn't done a whole lot yet. Agreeing to her demand, I reached for the box while she quickly slipped back, knowing the door would close. When I opened it and took the tool out, the door shut as predicted. I sent the screwdriver over and waited patiently. Huh, this is weird. In this suitcase is some kind of technology thing. It can connect to the console in the back. The screens are on now. She paused for a little bit. Well, what's on them? Hold on, this is a bit strange. I'm gonna need your hammer. Think you can send it over too? My hammer? Really? Yeah. Please send it over. She asked more desperately when I questioned her. Shrugging, I took it out and slid it under the door, not realizing I could have just asked for the screwdriver back and left the room. It would prove to be a strange mistake indeed when I suddenly heard something bizarre. The sound of glass shattering reached my ears. Did someone jump through a window? No, there were no windows here. Well, maybe on the PC there'd be windows, but The PCs? Jay, what are you doing? I'm solving the puzzle. Sick. The sounds of windows being smashed one after another echoed through the dimly lit room. I couldn't understand what Jasmine was doing. What are you doing? I told you I'm solving a puzzle. Almost there. It's like Patrick Star trying to solve puzzles. Once more, I heard the sounds of some windows being smashed. Those were most likely the screens of the security console being destroyed. After a moment of silence, it seems as though she was done. The screwdriver and the hammer were both sent back under the door. What did you do? I put the screwdriver back in the box and quickly grabbed the hammer to stash it back in my coat. I stepped out and witnessed the outcome. I broke the screens because that's what I had to do. See, when I plugged in the stuff in the suitcase, they all lit up. They didn't show anything because the battery wasn't strong enough. So I smashed them all. I smashed all the screens until only the one that mattered was left, and now they work. There had to be an easier way then because, listen, the hammer wasn't part of this room, right? What if Smiley decides we did a real bad thing? Oh yeah, you're right. But I didn't see any other way, I swear. Come on, let's look at the security footage before we go. There has to be something worthwhile in there. What about the password? She pointed at the screen. Oh right, it was currently displayed on it. We should unlock the doors downstairs first. Okay, I'll go that way. She hurried out of here, still embarrassed about her behaviour. Sheesh, so hot-headed. I wonder what happened to you, Jasmine. I left the area to also take care of a door, entering the password quickly before coming back up the stairs. Within the next minute, we were back up. I had a thought for a screwdriver we had to leave behind. Goodbye, Mr. Screwdriver. I'd never forget you. The screen that hadn't been smashed was lit up, and I could see a live feed of one of the rooms. It looked like a church or something like that. Let's see what we have here. Now that everything was open, it was easier for me to sit down and use the console. It looked a little like a computer interface, so it didn't take very long for me to get used to it. Around the system there were a lot of files. Folders upon folders numbered in strange sequences were lining up in the database. If someone would have asked me how many files there were, I would have answered a lot. The only way to refer to this many files. Try a random one? It's not like we can tell what they all are with those numbers. Normally they're formatted based on dates, but they name strange things. I tried a random file as she suggested, but it didn't amount to anything. The file was corrupted. Another gave me the same result, and upon the third one, I gave up trying without This piece of shit probably has a check for corrupted files. Let's try to run a repair tool. As someone who edits video all the time, I can assure you that corruption repair tools never fucking work. Never. Assuming it's not, as you say, a piece of shit. While it's running. While it's going, mind answering a few things for me? Jasmine inquisitively arched a brow. What'd you find in the drawers you unscrewed? Oh, right, there was a piece of paper with a code. That's what I used to unlock the doors. Really now? I swear. It was as easy as that. Nothing else was required. So, all this with the screens. Oh, that was part of the puzzle too. I swear. She was lying. Obviously. She's the worst liar ever. Jasmine was hiding something from me. I didn't care if Smiley needed to replace the screens. For whatever reason he might need to do so. But what I cared for is that Jasmine wasn't giving me the entire truth. There had been something on those screens and she didn't want me to see. Was it personal? Was it worse? Was it incriminating? Before I could truly dwell on it, the check finished. There was only a single uncorrupted file remaining. I pulled it up and booted it, expecting a text file or something, but it was a video. Aha! Jackpot. We got some footage, boys! Jasmine cleared her throat, but I was focused on the screen. On it was one of the twins and Ray. Narrowing my eyes, I leaned forward. This is... What is this? They've never gone together, I don't think. On the screen they were arguing. It had no sound, only picture. They were in a scanner room of some sort. After a while, the twin ran through the scanners. Huh? Is it live? No, it's a file. I looked over at Jasmine, who pointed at the screen, as if to tell me to keep looking. The feed wasn't done giving us this information. Ray was panicking. He had his back to the wall, both of his hands grabbing onto the surface as if he was trying to rip his nails off. Slowly, something was rolling back into focus. It was the twin's head. Oh my god! Huh? Finally, Ray looked around the room, seemingly scared from the occurrence. After a minute, he tentatively reached for the head. He grabbed it and ran out. Nothing happened afterwards. That is fucked. When did that happen? I don't know. One of the twins is dead? I hit the fast forward button. Nothing happened until the twin came back on the screen. The other twin. The one still alive. After waiting for a moment, she stepped through the scanner. However, there was no head rolling back this time. Nothing happened to her. That's weird. Rewinding that... I looked closer at the screen while doing that. The scene played again. Pause it. I hit the pause button, while Jasmine excitedly pointed at the image. Look! She got rid of it! The collar's fucking gone! How could she do that? Something doesn't add up. Other than the fact that Jasmine was swearing, which she only very rarely did, something was definitely not right. I rewound the feed to the very beginning and let it play again. We have to tell someone about this. If she could remove her collar... No, I think it's best if we don't talk about it with the others for now. If one of them really died, then that means Ray's gonna do whatever it takes to hide it. In his urgency, he might decide to silence those who know. It's clearly not his fault. The twin ran out on her own, but who's gonna believe him? Especially if one of the twins is gone too. Wait, does that mean that they had a ninth person in their room? Jasmine remained silent, uncertain. I decided to do a final cursory check. First I looked at the file's name, trying to see if it would help me figure out when it was recorded, but no dice. Once again, just like the rest, it was named by a number, but it was far too high to be considered a date. I briefly considered it maybe in seconds, like if it was X seconds after the dating game started, but I figured it wasn't. Okay, let's go then. This could cause unnecessary strife if people find out about it. First we have to see what happened to the twins and what Ray's state is. Yeah, let's go, on the double. The two of us ran away from the room, then quickly down the stairs. At the lobby, I almost tripped and mashed my shoulder against the wall. Ugh, God, I shouldn't be such a daredevil. Are you okay? Jasmine called from the station. I joined her right afterwards, where we were waited for the train. Yeah, I'm fine. Alright. Apologies for having to re-record that bit that I had actually seen before, but fucking technology, right? Anyway, looks like the killing has begun once again, or not so much killing, I guess it was an accident, but looks like bad shit is going down again already. So, and also with the AC, it looks like we're able to sort of see into other timelines. We're starting to get that sort of thing going on, but interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.